All right, it's 2 o'clock. We've got rising senior guard Ben Purvis with us. Ben, I'll start off. You're wearing 68 this year. That's David Forney's number. I guess how did that come about, and what does it mean to you?
Um, yeah, I'll start by what it means to me. Coming here to the academy, I committed a couple months after he had passed away, and hearing what legacy that he left and the type of person he was. It's a big honor to be able to to wear his number, and just it's an honor that I've been selected by the coaching staff, and I couldn't be more appreciative to be able to wear that number. And then it came. I honestly don't know how it came about. I was just told to move lockers. Um, but no, it was definitely like a surreal moment because coming in, Kip Franklin was the one wearing 68 that year, and he's been a mentor to me my entire time here. And just the way he carried himself about and carried on the legacy of David Forney is just it's really stuck out, and just being able to surround myself with people that have worn that number before is just true honor.
Have you been able to talk to David's dad? Yeah,
Yes, I have. Yes,
great,
I reached out to him, and then we talked in person for a good amount of time at the David Forney run. So,
awesome. Scott Wyckoff.
Right off the bat, what did you do for spring break?
I went home, went on a road trip. Drove down to Nashville, Tennessee, with my girlfriend. Spent like 2 days there, and then went home see my family. And then saw my little brother at Purdue on the last stretch home. So 42 hours total in the car. But it was a blast. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a fun spring break.
What's it like for you now, having spent so much time on the yard at the Naval Academy, when you walk onto a campus like Purdue and you see, do you really feel the differences?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, anybody can get on campus at Purdue, but here, you have to have your CAC or your DOD ID. So it's definitely different in that part. But I would say like the people at Purdue that I interacted with, a lot like us. It's an engineering school. Um, a lot of tough, smart kids because they got to deal with engineering and stuff too. But obviously, it's a little more lenient there than at the academy.
What does it mean for you this season to have a full season under your belt with Coach Cronic and his offense, Coach Guillermo, Coach Lauren Dean, to have that comfort level and know what they expect of you, and now to have them for another season altogether?
Well, it's my first off season. I'm not changing offenses, so that's a nice help. But no, it's I'd say there's a huge comfortability piece. Like coming back from Christmas the 2 years prior, it's been, oh, we got a new offense, we got to install this, and it's always on the go. But I think now it's more we have all our base stuff installed. It's more of just perfecting that.
And you also understand the expectations of you, not only for games, but in practice and in your daily routine.
Yes, obviously the expectations have been raised this year because we had a good season last year, but we could always do better. There was a lot of missed opportunities last year, and I think this upcoming year, like we see the baseline, but we have to raise that this year because people are going to be coming after us.
Thanks.
As an Indiana grad, I'll say that Purdue is a safety school for those who can't get into Indiana.
I
Bill Wagner.
Ben, you mentioned talking to Rick Forney. What did what were some of the things he talked about, and what did he say about David, and what did he say about how you have to carry yourself when you wear that 68?
No, so I talked to him about he brought up a lot of stories about David in the hall. And it just reminds myself of just the type of people we're around and the way that David carried himself. Everybody knew him, and I think that says a lot because a lot of the times, like people are kind of hidden with football, but the way that people knew David because he was always out there with like he was reaching out to people, just a great guy all around. And Mr. Forney was just talking to us about like what it was like when he was here and driving down the games and stuff. Yeah.
So you play the same position that David did. Do you go and watch a little film and see what he was all about in terms of a player?
Yes, definitely. When Coach Ashley Ingram was here, we watched a lot of David Forney film, and it's you want to be like David.
That one season, 2019, when Navy had such an incredible rushing season with Malcolm Perry, did you see the pulling guard stuff he was doing with that trap play?
Definitely, yeah. That was a highlighted play. Definitely for sure.
So, do you talk to Connor McMahon and others that have worn the jersey before and kind of get their thoughts on what this means?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, Connor, Lyrion, and Kip have all been worn 68 when I was here. So I've been keeping in contact with them about what it means and what you need to do wearing 68, but also just in life too. Like the way they are as people is their role models, and I would love to carry that on for the younger guys.
So, can you talk about the leadership role you need to take on within the offensive line and overall with the entire offense?
Yeah. Just being the oldest guy in the O line room, you kind of have that status of you've been here the longest, but at the same time, the younger guys coming up, we definitely need to bring them along too, and not just push them aside. You have to create just role model-ish, um, just be a personable person with them, and everybody in on the team. Like you just got to be a personable person. They can be approachable. I mean, like I know I'm always here for these guys. Like these are my best friends. I got 185 brothers in the locker room down there, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So just being able to step on the field with them is definitely a life goal. But just in terms of leadership, like we know what we accomplished last year, and so for us, like Blake, myself, and other guys all across the board that have played, we have to realize we have to raise the expectations coming into this year.
So Cam Nichols was starting at the right guard, and then the coaches ended up putting Hoke Smith in there. What do you tell Cam in terms of what he had to keep his head up? And because now I think the coaches told us that ideally like to move Hoke to center and have Cam at guard. And I mean, he lost his job there at one point in the season. How do you kind of rebuild his confidence to make sure he knows he can get the job done?
No, I have a tremendous amount of faith in Cam Nichols. I was in the same position my sophomore year, lost my starting job, but I think just for him, just keep working. Like you can't get down on yourself. He's got this whole offseason. He's had a great offseason. I'm really proud of him the way he is as a person, and I believe that he's going to be just fine.
Thanks.
Tim Nolan.
Ben, you talk about those expectations that you want to raise. What are some tangible goals in your mind for this upcoming season?
I think our goal every year is CIC trophy, and that's definitely a tangible goal. But I think in terms of like conference play, like it would be awesome to be able to play for a conference championship, and then make a New Year's Six Bowl. I think those are very attainable goals. And in terms of offense, we just have to, I think, just be more efficient. Like there was games where we were very good, and there was games that we struggled a little bit. And I think, being consistent across the board every single game is a huge goal for us.
When you push around a team like Oklahoma in the trenches to cap last season, how much confidence does that give your particular unit going into next year, knowing what you're capable of?
No, I think that a game like that can prove that hey, we can hang with guys. Like we just have to go one play at a time. No matter if we get a 5-yard loss, and then it could turn into a 96-yard run like Blake had. So, I think it just proves to ourselves and builds our confidence. Like, hey, like they could be bigger than us, but that doesn't matter. If we play Navy football, we're going to be just fine.
And how about been during spring ball? Anyone in particular catch your attention, or perhaps someone's development a little further along than you anticipated?
Um, I would just say, I mean, I guess I'll talk about the O line first. Just we're a young group, but I think the way that each of these guys has wanted to develop into a better player, better offensive lineman in our room has been a sight to see. I enjoy watching these guys, start to understand what Navy football is. Because like I was on scout team and then boom, thrown into uh, getting some reps in spring ball my plebe year, and it's tough to transition just like that. But you got to buy into it, and these coaches do a great job with making sure people know what's going on and able to help them. So
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we'll make another trip around. Scott Wyckoff.
What do you think about, and how do you like if you do, the physical nature of the spring practices under Coach Newberry?
no, I think it definitely it sets a foundation of what we're going to expect during the season, and it helps us to better gauge where we are as a team as well. Because if we need to work on certain aspects, you don't necessarily notice that when you're not having a physical practice. So being able to go versus our defense, which is tough defense to block versus going versus them every single day, shows you what you need to work on personally and as an offense.
A lot of times, timing is everything for you to come along at the same time as this tremendous offensive backfield. What does that mean for you guys as an offensive line to have so many weapons behind you?
Yeah, I think knowing that we have guys that can make plays behind us almost drives us. It does drive us to want to be better because we want those guys to have a great season too. And so I think it fuels our fire to just continue to get better every single day.
What is that like when Blake or Chad or Eli or Alex or anybody breaks one and you maybe had a pancake block and you're watching them 3/4 of the way down the field? What's that feeling like?
Well, the first thing that goes through my mind is I hope they score because I'll probably be out of breath if I'm chasing after them. Uh, no, it's definitely like it's just a surreal feeling. Like I would say Blake's touchdown run versus Oklahoma. We're at the 5-yard line. Oklahoma's got a good defense. He breaks out one. You're like, wow, like everything came together on that play. Let's hope we don't get any penalties called it back. But uh, it's just a surreal feeling.
And how unique a coach is Coach Guillermo, a younger guy. He's attained the highest level in coaching now, but also attained the highest level in playing, has done everything on the field that he expects you guys to do.
I think it's nice because he's 10 years older than me, maybe a little younger, but he's relatable. And with the modernization of football and a sport and offensive line play, it's nice to see someone who's coaching, but also is learning at the same time. And so, like me and him, we'll sit down, we'll talk about some stuff just in depth more, like of what he's thinking, what I was thinking on this play, and we'll be able to talk it out. And I can see the way he is as a coach has grown too. He's a young guy, but being around coaches like Coach Lauren Dean, Coach Newberry, who've been around the game forever, that he's also learning with football too.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Flags.
So on that note, I think when Coach Cronic came in, he said that the new offense was most difficult for the line to learn. So how much further along do you all think you are? And obviously with Coach Guillermo coming in as well, there was so much new last spring. How much more comfortable are all the linemen a year later after having all that time with Coach Guillermo, with Coach Cronic, and learning this offense?
Yeah, I think it definitely has helped, like having a year under our belt to see what it's like playing under both coaches, and it's definitely more comfortable. Just come back from spring ball, or just come back from spring break, like we just had our first meeting of the post spring break, and I think just him. So we had to do like a play of the day, or he'd send us a play, we draw it up, send it back to him. I think just the constant reiteration of what we're installing per se, or just even plays we already installed, and then just to keep our mind on football so we don't lose it. So
I mentioned Hoke Smith earlier. I know the coaching staff thinks a lot of him. I mean, a part of, what him getting that starting job was he earned it with good play and practice. What do you think Hoke brings to the table, and do you think he has quite an upside?
Yes, definitely. Huge upside. Hoke someone comes to work every single day, a lot like Cam Nichols, who just knows ins and outs of O-line play, and it's me and him. It's quite funny on the field when both of us are next to each other. So it's definitely a comfortability piece. But I think him proving himself last year. It's just a huge confidence booster for him as well. Although he may play center, it's relatively the same. And, I had a ton of faith in him.
Can you talk about the guys that are behind you, guys like Grayson Crawford and Jalen Acevedo? And I don't know, maybe there's some new names that you could mention, but I mean, who are some of the other guards that are showing you some things? Because you're going to need to rebuild the depth here a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So, like Grayson Crawford, went to naps with him. His work ethic is incredible. I got a ton of faith in him as well. He keeps proving himself. It's awesome to see. Jalen Acevedo, another guy who just continues to get better and better. I'm trying to think. I mean, I'll say at the tackle position too. Connor Heater, who's a plebe, Sean Crowley, Hanson Cauley, all these guys are coming to work every single day. I would say the whole O-line together has been, just a tremendous group to work with this offseason so far.
Well, that's what Scott mentioned about all the skill position talent that's coming back, but obviously those guys can't do what they do if the line's not getting the job done and opening holes. And, on the surface, the offensive line is a question mark, having to replace 3 starters with so many young faces. There's going to be guys out there that people have never heard of. How do you see this unit coming along? And do you think by the time September rolls around, you'll have a line that can get the job done?
Yes, I do. I have full faith in Coach Cronic and Coach Guillermo to get us right going into the season. We still got a lot of work to do, including myself. We got we got 5.5 months until fall camp starts. It's not a lot of time, but I believe that, we're going to have to put in a lot of extra time ourselves, just learning the playbook, getting comfortable next to each other, playing next to each other, so that we'll be able to open up holes for all our guys.
Thanks, Ben.
Tim.
I'm all good, Scott. Thanks again, Ben, for your time. We appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Anyone have anything else for Ben?
Yeah, one more for me, Ben. You mentioned playing together with guys at Naps. It seems like some of the biggest beneficiary guys that benefit from that the most are the linemen, because you develop that relationship. Have you found that with the linemen that you went to Naps with?
Yeah, the only linemen left in my class were at Naps with me. We have 4 total seniors, and all 4 of us went to Naps together. Obviously, Kendall Whiteside is on the other side of the ball now, but no, I think I'm truly appreciative of my time at Naps. I was a scrawny offensive lineman coming out of high school, and I really benefited from my time at Naps. Just mostly weight room, gaining weight. Played a couple games up there. COVID still was going on, so it was kind of iffy. But I think there's overall, like, all of us just bought into what was going on at Naps, and lifting weights, gaining weight. So,
and what weight do you hope to play at this coming season?
295 is my goal weight. So
excellent, great.
Anyone else for Ben? All right. Thanks a lot, Ben. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be back with Coach Guillermo at 3:00.
All right.